Okay.
All right. So we have had some interesting experiences this trip, and things didn't always turn out how we were expecting, and there's definitely been some moments of adversity and having to kind of shift our plans and our expectations, and so we wanted to make a video about how we've done that and still maintained positivity with each other and still had an amazing trip and not really gotten pissed at each other really shockingly.
No, it's been there's been a lot of times where we've had opportunities to slow down and help each other out, but I feel like this has been a real smooth, and even with all of the crazy adversity that we've run into and the obstacles and things like that, it's still been a really smooth trip.
Yeah. So we want to talk about like how we went about doing that, like how do you encounter adversity, even if it's just like little things like plans didn't go how you were expecting, like how did we deal with that with as much grace as possible? And the first thing we wanted to talk about was really trying to keep a short-term perspective. So we really tried to not think about like what's going to happen tomorrow, what's going to happen in 3 days, what's going to happen next week. We really tried to keep it like, okay, what are we going to do today? Like, how are we going to handle the situation today?
Right. Yeah. Like right now is the only thing that's real, and we can project way far out in the future and make all kinds of stories about things that might possibly happen. But you can just as easily do that and really make yourself uncomfortable with all of those possibilities. And so I feel like reining things in and saying, okay, what's happening right this second? Is everything okay right this second? And that's a real nice way to slow down.
Yeah, we really worked hard to not let ourselves spiral into hypothetical situations, but just be like, with the information we have today, like, how do we navigate this? Mm-hmm. And that helped a lot. So the second thing we worked on was just like physical grounding. Mm-hmm. So like when the van first broke down, the first thing I said when we pulled into that parking lot in this tiny town in the middle of nowhere, I said, hang on, before we do anything, I'm going to have a snack. And I think that really helped, like making sure that we were properly fueled. Like, wait, is my blood sugar stable enough to be like making a big decision right now, or to be engaging in this conversation? Have I had enough water? Just basic needs stuff we really tried to be mindful of.
Yeah, and that's definitely important, because if I get real hungry and I don't address that, like it can affect my mood in a huge way. Or if I haven't had, if I don't have time to slow down, I feel like just taking the minute to eat a snack actually broke me out of the situation where I was like, oh geez, what are we gonna do? Because I had to just think about eating my cheese.
Right. Yeah, and I think even when we weren't hungry, we were really good about just like taking a moment, like before we went to our next place, okay, let's just take a breath, like, and then we'll pull out of this parking lot and drive away, or like, then we'll like walk over to this place and do this thing we have to do. Like, we were really good about just kind of like, hey, hang on, let's take a moment, like take a breath, and then we'll do the thing. Yeah.
And I feel like we did that really well with each other too, where we would stop and like look at each other and take a big breath together.
Yeah.
and say or talk about how I was grateful for you. Like, that's really grounding for me, is to think about everything that's going well. And so just finding that grounding in any way that we could. Yeah,
definitely. So the next thing was in those moments that were unavoidably tough, because I mean, when you're in an adverse situation, like, you're going to have insecurities come up, you're going to have uncomfortable emotions come up, it's going to bring stuff up, that maybe even you thought was not really relevant anymore in your life, that you thought you'd worked through. But tough situations always bring that kind of stuff up. So I think when we couldn't ground out of the uncomfortable insecurity or emotion that came up, we were really trying to communicate them. Like, we were really trying to be aware of it. Like, when I would have a really uncomfortable emotional sensation in my body, I was really trying to communicate that and basically just be like, man, I think I'm having this weird insecurity come up, and really trying to share it. Like, here's why I, said that like rude thing, or here's why I'm being a little short or being a little irrational maybe about this situation. I think there's this underlying insecurity or emotion that's coming up, and you have been really awesome about just hearing that, and like accepting that. And I think you've done a similar thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and being open with how you feel, even if it's maybe even uncomfortable for the other person to hear.
Yeah.
Like just getting that out of your body, I feel like, and saying it out loud is a really important way to process that and to be able to let go of it.
Yeah.
And another thing that I noticed that you're really, really good at was like when you felt like you needed a little bit more security, you would just ask me, like, hey, I need attention, or I need a hug, or I'm feeling insecure, and I need you to pay attention to me.
Right.
And I feel like that's such good communication, because maybe I don't know what you need to make you feel more comfortable, and so that gives me the ability to be there for you too.
Yeah.
Which helps me with the things that I need.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the very last thing is kind of seeing everything in like a zoomed out perspective, like trying to see the bigger picture of like the purpose of adversity. And we were looking for that. We were like, there's got to be some reason we're supposed to be in Phoenix twice as long as we were planning. Like, there's something here. So we just kept like exploring and, going to maybe parts of the neighborhood or to different places that we weren't planning on visiting because we weren't planning on being there as long. And sure enough, I don't know. Do you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, not even saying like there's got to be something bigger in all of this. I feel like just opening, like that process of opening our minds and saying like, what good can I make of this?
Sure. Yeah.
That is the bigger picture. Like, what good can I make of this for myself, for you, for our experience? Like, I don't want to go home and say, oh, our trip sucked.
Right.
So what good can I make of this? And I feel like that just led us to a huge thing, and you can talk about it.
Well, no, I appreciate that nuance on what I was saying. Like, it's not necessarily even that the universe is providing something, although maybe it is, but regardless of that, like, you can find the meaning in it, right? That gives you a little more active, like, more of an active role in it. So I appreciate you framing it more that way. But yeah, we ended up coming up with like a really amazing like future business plan for something we're going to do that we will talk a lot more about in the future. But we just have really been hit with inspiration and just brainstorming like what our future business ventures and our passion projects are going to look like, both like individually and together, and having these opportunities to drive different places and be in different spaces than we were planning to just really seemed to open these conversations up.
It broke all of our old paradigms, and everything that we were already planning was like kind of thrown to the wind, and it just gave us an opportunity to be creative with new ideas. Yeah. And so I'm really excited about it.
Yeah. All right. I think that's it.
I think that's it too.
How we did it.
Yeah.
Thanks for talking with me about it.
Yeah, thank you. It was nice. I'm really looking forward to our mutual videos.
Yes.
All right.